New England's favorite bowling show. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Featuring the best bowlers from around the region. Candlepin Stars and Strikes. And now your hosts, Dick Lutz and Mike Morris.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS-TV from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutz with Mike Moran. We begin our 8th year of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS-TV. For Michael and I, we've seen some great bowling over the past 7 years.
And a lot more to come this season for sure. In fact, we're going to pick up where we left off with the Tournament of Champions. Rich Lottie and Jeff Surratt. He's at the top of this ladder, so the next 4 weeks will be very interesting.
Let's meet our first two bowlers of the brand new season. First, our number 5 seed from Stowe, Massachusetts. Let's welcome veteran Jack Ray.
Been a couple years. We're glad he's back. Jackie Ray, 124 average. High single is 220. His high triple is 470 and does his bowling at Fast Lanes in Stowe, Mass.
And Jackie rolled a 649 in the roll-off to earn the number 5 seed in this brand new season first ladder series. He'll be taking on our number 4 seed from Claremont, New Hampshire, another veteran. Let's say hi to Steve Vadney.
Steve Vadney is in with an average of 128 currently. His high single is 195. High triple is 488, and for years he's bowled out of Sunset Lanes in Newport, New Hampshire.
All right, let's kick off a brand new season. It's Jackie Ray and Steve Vadney when we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS-TV. There you see the 5 bowlers who will be competing in our first ladder series of the brand new season. Jack Ray and Steve Vadney, the first match. Rich Lottie, Mike Cuccia, and Jeff Surratt as we climb the ladder. Jack Ray will be first to bowl here this afternoon at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS-TV. And we're underway right on the head pin, and look what he has to show for it. The spread eagle plus the 5 pin.
Sorry, no mulligans allowed in this game, Jack. You got to shoot it. Takes out a couple on the right-hand side. It has been a couple years. In fact, it's been roughly 5 years since Jackie Ray appeared on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Tough
He
start.
Starts off with a $5. Wasn't he the commentator for our first grudge match at Pilgrim when we had our first match a few years ago?
I believe he may have been. Yeah. Well, he is the bowler with the best hair on the tour, so you got to give him that.
So aspirations all obviously to be behind the mic where we are.
Apparently.
Yeah.
See, they want to be here and we want to be there.
Yeah.
Luckily,
it always works out that way.
We'll keep it this way if you folks don't mind, and I'm sure you don't after watching the replay of our big event the last 5 weeks.
Jack will be open through the first couple of frames. And he'll put a 10 on the board. Now Steve Vadney, another veteran campaigner from Claremont, New Hampshire.
I wouldn't call him that during an election year.
Steve with a 128 average, a high single of 197, a high triple of 488. Bowling out of Sunset Lanes in Newport. And he starts off with a spread eagle. Steve is a senior lead person at Sturm Ruger in Newport. And he starts off with an 8-box.
He's one of the few people whose bios we haven't had to change much in the 7 or 8 years that we've been on the show. He's essentially
just gets older every year.
Yeah, as do we.
Now up to 52 years old is Steve. Right on the head pin there, and there they go. First strike of the match belongs to Steve Vadney. Our triple strike jackpot is recycled at $500 to begin the new season. $10 in the bonus ball contest at the end of the match. Jack with a half Worcester, so he's had a little bit of everything thus far. Jack bowls out of Fast Lanes in Stowe. Which is where I spent a little time warming up for our grudge match. It's near my business in Hudson, Massachusetts, and Ross Wheeler is the proprietor of Fast Lanes, and he's here today to root on his protege.
Well, the first really makeable spare for Jackie Ray. It's the 4-7 with wood. 2 pieces of wood on the plate right before the 4 and the 7.
And he'll make the spare. Jack's a sales manager for Marjam in Stoneham. He and wife Kelly have 2 children, a daughter Jessica who's 14, a son Mitch who is 10. Interestingly, both Jack Ray and Steve Vadney list as one of their hobbies. They both like to play horseshoes.
Find that good bowlers are usually pretty good horseshoe pitchers as well. One of the top bowlers in the 10-pin world, Walter Ray Williams, is a championship horseshoe pitcher with an unbelievably high ringer rate.
I didn't know that.
Well,
you learned something new.
Stick with me, kid. I'll teach you a few things.
Steve with an 8 in the strike and a 9 box.
I just mentioned 10-pin occasionally to drive all our viewers crazy, because you know how 10-pin bowlers and Candlepin bowlers can't seem to get along.
That's why they divide the houses in half sometimes.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people did that. There's still a number of those, what they call split houses, still in our viewing area. I don't think you'll find those anywhere else in the country, except here in New England.
The 1-7-10 still standing for Steve Vadney. Steve also likes to collect cars. That's an interesting hobby.
Oh, almost picked up the 1-7-10.
9 box for Steve.
Both bowlers off to a rather sluggish start. 3 marks in a row will give our bowler $50. And we continue from there.
Jack's got a good first ball, and here they go. The strike inside the spare. Great action off the wall. It looked as though it was going to be an 8-pin drop. Unfortunately, well, he still has another ball to fill the strike.
Got away from him, went off to the right.
Half push to right side. And one more. Jack stares down at him. Look at the stare.
The Jackie Ray stare.
Looked like a great ball, didn't it?
Only took the head pin off, leaving a cluster on the left side. Good recovery.
He'll put an 8 box up.
Pretty much nullifies putting 2 spares there, 2 marks together when you have a bad fill like that.
A 3 inside the strike. 65 through 6 for Jack Ray. Steve Vadney missed the head pin, and he leaves himself a tough shot.
Rich Lottie waits in the wings to see who he'll bowl next week. He's number 3 seed, and he was also in the Tournament of Champions in April.
Threw it past the head pin. Let's see, Steve Vadney is looking to buy a 1967 390 GT. Anyone got one out there?
Let us know. We'll get the word to Steve.
He's in the process of selling a 1998 Nissan 300Z XSS, and there were only 1,000 of those produced, so I suspect that'll bring a pretty good ticket.
It's a lovely car. His son, Steve, is, or at least in the past, has been a partner with him in car collecting. Son is 25. He's here today, and he told me that he's more nervous than Dad is when he's here watching. Usually it's the other way around. Usually it's a parent watching a child bowling on the show, but it's the other way around today.
Steve and wife Annette also have another child, Annette. And let's see, Annette they have Jennifer, who's 27 years old and a graduate of Bryant College in Rhode Island.
It's a 5-pin match through 6 boxes, our first show of the brand new season. Six ladders will produce 6 bowlers for the Tournament of Champions, Dick.
Jack has trouble buying a break here early on.
Other than the strike he had in the 5th frame, which was a pretty good break.
Gonna try the wood. Nope, not gonna go. Last time on Candlepin Stars and Strikes back in '99, he was beaten by Rich Clark, 391 to 350 in the Tournament of Champions. Again, a half Worcester, his third half Worcester of the string.
Need to point out once again, his high single is 220. To get a 200 string is amazing. 210 is phenomenal. 220 is probably only a handful of people have ever accomplished that.
245 is the high single ever recorded.
The officially recognized high single anyway, as far as all bowling organizations that sanction scores goes. There will probably be others that might claim otherwise, but that's the high watermark in our game.
I once got a 267, but I was bowling by myself. Nobody.
Right, and it was 3 strings.
Nobody could watch. Steve just threw one, and look what he has to show for it. We've seen some interesting.
Say it, ugly leaves.
Ugly is a good word. He threw a good ball there. Mike mentioned Rich Lottie is the number 3 seed. Mike Cuccia is number 2. Jeff Surratt, the top seed in this latter series.
And he finished 3rd in the Tournament of Champions last season. Split city today, Dick.
All over the place. There you see some of the great crowd on hand here at Leda Lanes for our first taping of the season. They arrived early, had their coffee and donuts put out by Ray Simino and Sean Howard. Renewed acquaintances. They make some great friends. There's a great shot by Steve for a 10 box. 3 pins separate these two bowlers after 8 boxes first string. New policy instituted this year will give you an opportunity to see some different bowlers during the course of the year.
Looking for the backdoor strike isn't going to happen. Half of the 4 horsemen taken out, the 1-2 remain.
Once a bowler makes a TV ladder, they're prohibited from qualifying for the next 2 ladders. So it'll open up some spots as Jackie makes the shot.
And we should point out, just for your reference, folks, that this is not precedent setting. Some of the other big television bowling shows you've watched in the past, sometimes you would be on once and that would be it for the season.
Year.
Yeah, you could not come back and try to get on again. So we're looking to bring in some fresh faces and think that you'll appreciate that.
Jackie threw it right in the pocket then. 5-pin stares back at him. The pin appears to be frozen, but he's right on it anyway. 2 marks in a row for Jack Ray. That's his 4th mark of the string. He's at 110 plus a ball.
So he recovers nicely and will come within just pins of his 124 average. I mean, he had a rough start, a 5th, a 5-pin first box, and then a 3-fill and a strike. Other than that, he's been pretty steady.
On the head pin that time, and he will put 7, 8.
Make it 8.
In the mark. And a 118 first string for Jackie Ray.
I would imagine we have lots of mail to catch up from during the summer
we got a ton
as we go along.
The next string. We'll get to a bunch of it in the second string. Mail and emails that have carried over from last season. Just a ton of it. Steve again missing the head pin. That time on the head pin, but again, not solidly. And he'll take a 9 box. He's at 87. He needs a mark to break 100. Moving over to lane 33. That time to the right of the head pin. So he's trying to find that number 1 pin. Four horsemen left side. He played it well.
What a beautiful shot.
Left the 7-pin standing, so he will be open. He'll be under 100. It is a 10 box and a 97 first string for Steve Vadney. A 21-pin lead for Jack Ray over Steve Vadney after one. We continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Steve Vadney will bowl first in the second string, trailing Jackie Ray by 21 pins. As we continue Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV, Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. Happy to have you with us. Hard to believe, Michael, that you and I have been doing this this is our 8th season we begin today.
Yep, back in the fall of '97. The show is now in its second decade. Dan Murphy and Doug Brown taking care of the show very nicely for the first 14 or 15 years or so. Handed it off to us in 1997, and we're glad the tradition continues for bowling fans all across New England. Pretty good start for Steve Vadney with the 10. Subpar performance under his average of 128 by close to 30 pins in the first string. That's no fun. It's a spread eagle with the 8-pin. On the left side, Steve is the holder of 3 WCBC titles, as well as 4 senior tour titles, and the first 3 that he won were all consecutive. Won 3 in a row, which is quite an accomplishment.
I want to acknowledge a nice note we received from Beatrice Wilson from Dorchester, Massachusetts. Beatrice, thank you very much for writing. So many letters that it's going to be virtually impossible to read them all. We'll try to acknowledge as many as we can, and thank you for writing. There's a shot by Jackie Ray.
In this day and age of emails and electronic communication, it's kind of nice to actually get handwritten correspondence, Dick. It seems like it's a fading art very quickly.
Is.
And I'm just as guilty as the next guy. When's the last time you wrote a letter to anybody longhand?
It's been a long time.
Six drop for Jackie Ray, ball fading off to the left, leaving the head pin along with the 3, the 4, and the 7. Some wood wedged in the back there.
Will it go? Will it go? Yes, it will.
Shrugs his shoulders and says, I don't know.
He had it played that way. No doubt in my mind. Kevin LaFon's our director today. Rich Burke's on audio. Steve's right in the pocket there. Kristen Doobie's on replay. Keith Webb's our engineer. Patrick McDougall, Eric Angra, and Larry Haber, our camera crew here at Leda Lanes, as Steve Vadney picks up the spare.
And we should mention Chris Willett is our scorekeeper.
Paul Willett.
Paul Willett, rather. That's right. Thinking of Chris Beaubear back in the days when he did it. I combined both those gentlemen. Paul Willett. Sorry, Paul. Sorry, Chris.
Steve working on the spare. Oh, he broke up the... Now that's good news, bad news. Gives him an 8 in the spare, but leaves him with the 7-10.
All the bowling coaches back there shouting to Steve, play the wood. He didn't listen to him.
He tried to bang it off the wall to the left, and it didn't catch the end of the pin. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah. He needed it, too, because Jack Ray is off to a fast start with a couple of marks.
Jack puts 7 in the spare. Got some wood to play, but won't get it.
Try to sweep that piece of wood from the 8 to the 7. Not enough angle, though, for him to make that happen. 9-box, third frame.
Irene Kennan from Brookfield, Massachusetts, where Bay Path Lanes is located out in that neck of the woods. Sends us a nice note, and also a history of bowling, a history of Candlepin bowling. Not sure what this is out of, but it's a copy of an article from, well, it doesn't say where it's
wow,
from.
what a
nice
shot.
shot by Jackie.
So we'll take a quick break and come back to Leda Lanes, where Jack Ray continues to dominate Steve Vadney midway through first week of a brand new season. We'll be right back.
Steve Vadney ready to go. He trails Jack Ray. Jack's got 3 marks and 4 boxes. Steve with 1 mark through the first 4 frames of the second string, and Jack had a 21-pin lead after 1. Steve's trying to hang in there. And another mark for Steve Vadney.
Another fine crowd, as you can see. We've been blessed with lots of great bowling fans that come out to our monthly tapings here at Leda Lanes on Amherst in Nashville. 101A.
Did you see Bill O'Doul today?
I did. Up from Florida.
Up from Florida to escape the hurricane as we tape today. Hurricane Ivan is threatening the coast of Florida. And Bill came north to get away from it.
Bill Muldoon, always good to see Billy. Staunch Candlepin fan who's moved south, as many have.
I gave him a different last name, didn't I?
You did.
Bill Muldoon, yeah.
It's a 5 fill on a 4th box spare for Jack Ray from Stowe, Massachusetts. Bowler who's distinguished himself over the years. Many, many television appearances, both here and, of course, Channel 5. He's been on 67 times under the bright lights.
The intensity on his face or something, isn't it? Look at the strike right there. Boy, that intensity as he was approaching the line, really captured there.
Replay?
Jack right on the headpin. And there you see it in slow motion instant replay. And the strike for Jackie Ray. Now Steve Vadney, he's found the headpin, which he had trouble finding early on.
But then he seems to be penalized when he does get the headpin with some horrific splits.
Almost made the shot. Nine box for Steve.
He is the first bowler to surpass 1,500 for 10 strings. Did that at Park Place in 1985 in the New Hampshire State Championship. Do you realize, folks, that's better than a 150 average for 10 games? First bowler to do so, at least in officially recognized record keeping.
Ooh, he almost made it off the wall. A couple of times last season, Michael, you and I talked about bowling leagues in the area and some of the old bowling leagues and how some of them have been going on for many, many years. Got a note here from Bruno Borgatti of Wellesley, Massachusetts. Dear Dick and Mike, a short letter on the length of bowling leagues. The Wellesley Bowling League started in 1922 or 24. My father bowled in the league, and we have a couple of Loving Cups that he won. The league stopped during World War II and started up again in 46, when most of the veterans were home. The league is still bowling at Fairway and Natick. They're down to only 6 teams, and he's the only one left of the 1946 starters. Bruno Borghardi from Wellesley, Massachusetts. Thanks
That's
very
amazing.
much.
So it's an 80-year league that took a little time off for the war. Jack Ray shows no signs of slowing down other than an occasional missed head pin on his first shot. He's been rock steady this string with 5 marks in 7 boxes.
Looking for bonus money right now. We have not given away any bonus money yet this afternoon, but Jack has a couple of marks in a row. $50 for 3 in a row, and he throws a good first ball. Will that 5-pin fall backwards? It's teasing us. The 5 and the 9. The 5 continues to wobble. Wood between the two. A $50 shot for Jack Ray right here. Put it in the bank. So Jack's working on a real fine second string.
And close to a 50-pin edge over Steve Vadney with only a dozen boxes to go in this match.
And Steve has a mess. He's got the 1, the 2, the 7, and the 10 with some wood. He'll clean up 3 of the 4. And that'll be a 10 box. He's at 102. He had a 97 first string. Well below his average.
Going to have to shoot that 10-pin with no assistance. I think the bowlers prefer it that way anyway. A nice clean shot at it. Good time to do it in the 10th frame. Nope.
9 box and a 111.
So he's got 208 through 2. And Jackie Ray's got it on cruise control right now. He's on 3 marks in a row, hoping to make it 4 to increase the bonus money.
Got a note from Papa Jim, a retired letter carrier from Waltham, Massachusetts, who says he really enjoys watching the show every week. The combination of Dick and Mike is a pair that would beat a full house. Let's go bowling, says Papa Jim.
Thank you, Papa.
Nice to hear from you. Nine box for Jackie. The string of marks ends at 3. He's at 136 through 9. Looking to add to his lead. It was 21 after 1. And now that wood sets up nicely for him. The 1, the 2, the 9, and the 10. Missed the head pin. So he'll be open in the 10th frame. He's at 143 right now. And that will be a 9 box and a 145 second string for Jackie Ray. A 2-string total for Jackie of 263, a 63-pin lead over Steve Vadney after 2 strings. We continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Jack Ray will lead us off in the 3rd string. I misread the numbers after the 2nd string. It's a 263 for Jack Ray, 208 for Steve Vadney, a 55-pin lead for Jack Ray after 2 strings at Leda Lanes. Jackie starts off the 3rd string right where he left off with a pretty good pocket shot.
And when we're done today, we will have one of the bowlers try to win you a little bit of money in the bonus ball contest. We've got a giant jackpot hopper filled with cards that you've submitted over the course of the summer, and $10 for a match. We will pull out a card, read a name, tell the bowler what he needs to get. If he can, you win the $10. It goes up $10 every week, as you know, until it gets hit, then it goes back to $10.
had occasion before today's match to meet Bud Ward from Worcester, Massachusetts, a longtime bowler in the Worcester area. Great history of bowling in Worcester, as you know, and he bowled in the 8-team City League, the 6-team Central Mass League, the 18-team Industrial League. Jay Muncie was one of his mentors, who was the head of athletics at the YW many years ago, and he gave me a list of bowling houses in Worcester from his memory. We've talked about it many times before. He's got 27 listed here, I think, or 24, 27. Bowling Green, Casino, Ideal, King Philip, Park Lane, Strand, Recreation, Federal, Wellington. I don't remember Wellington. Webster Square, Metro Bowl, Washington Square. I don't remember that one. 20th Century, Rialto, YMCA, YWCA. Got Wackos. I don't remember that one listed at all. Lincoln Park. There was Lincoln Lanes. There was a 10-pin house, Lincoln Lanes, that I recall, but I don't recall Lincoln Park or Candlepin Lane. State Mutual Insurance had lanes where the Bob Fouracres TV show originated many years ago. Central Lanes, of course, in downtown. So there were a bunch of them. And he lists some of the great bowlers that he bowled with in Worcester. Dick Farrell, Al Jabry, all names I remember reading about when I was a kid. Norm Whipple, Rolly Blondin, we've talked about before. Ray Chin, Bob Pratt, Bob Spratt, Ed Kowalczyk, Ralph Keeney, Chris Chanis. And he also lists himself Bud Ward, who had great success as a Candlepin bowler around the Worcester area. We thank him for coming up and introducing himself and giving me the information here as well. Let's see, there's a couple of other things that he's... some other names.
Looking for bonus money is Jack Ray, who's got spare through 2 and looking to make this 3. It'll be an extra $50. Puts him closer to facing Rich Lottie in week 2 of this 4-week ladder. First one of the brand new Candlepin Stars and Strikes season for 2004-2005. And he does it.
So Jack is off to a big start. Looking for some more money.
Nice break. He's going to get another 9 out of this. He'd like to see that piece of wood just get out of the way totally, because if he capped it, he could end up missing it. And he might be in danger of doing that if he doesn't get by it cleanly, Dick. Be close.
Does he play the wood to the left? That's what he's trying to do. He got the ball off the wall.
Very good break for Jack Ray. Ball just barely ricocheted in the right space.
Bud Ward played with Milton Laidall, the Gillette brothers, and Nelson Goncalini, names that he lists on his sheet here. That would be familiar to those of you who watched Candlepin bowling over the years in the Worcester area. Steve Vadney with an 8-pin drop. Nice shot by Steve Vadney. 2 marks in a row for Steve.
So the prize structure works out this way: $200 for our 5th place bowler, or the runner-up today, and bowler number who wins goes on to bowl our 3rd seed next week.
8-pin drop for Steve, and a spare opportunity and bonus money chance here. $50 in bonus money for Steve Vadney, and we go to the break. Both bowlers running a string of marks. We'll come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV right after this. Jack Ray with 4 marks in a row to start the 3rd string on lane 34 at Leda Lanes in Nashua. Steve Vadney's run off 3 marks, but he hasn't picked up a pin. That's a spread eagle for Jack right there.
Commercial break cooled him off just a bit, although he did hit the head pin.
So he will be open in the 5th frame. With an 8-box.
Jack Ray, who recently turned 50, tells me he plans on competing in some of the senior pro events this year. The Candlepin bowling answer to the seniors events that you see many individual sports, such as golf, of course. So this is his first year of eligibility, and the season kicks off. He'll be up there with the bowlers in his age range, although he can, I think, still compete with certainly the WCBC bowlers as well.
Now Jack, another mark after the open frame. Puts another spare on the board. I want to acknowledge a nice note from Eleanor Long from Worcester. We have big audience in Worcester watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Did I ever tell you that I was from Worcester?
No, I don't think you've mentioned that in the last probably 2.5 minutes. Yeah, the half Worcester didn't go. So we have so many fans in Worcester because we get so many half Worcesters on the show, and you've adopted it as your hometown America.
Steve with a 9-box. This 2 in the spare doesn't help Steve. He has a mountain to climb and not a lot of time to climb it. Spare opportunity here. He really needs to run the table and have Jack go without a mark the rest of the way. That'll be a spare for Steve Vadney in the 6th frame.
Wanted to mention that Steve's son Steve is here. He's now the CFO, Chief Financial Officer for Page Flooring in Salem, doing all kinds of things from hardwood to granite countertops. I've known Steve since he was 7 or 8 years old, and he's doing very well in the business world. Got a great education, as did his sister Jennifer, who got out of Bryant College 6 years ago.
Oh, nice shot by Jackie Ray. Jack's making the shots now. After just putting 2 in the spare, he converts it. Another mark, looking for more bonus money. Right on the head pin and right through.
Ball took a quick left-hand curve on it right through the nose.
Well, we talked about old leagues. Here's another one. A league that's been bowling since 1915, Michael. Originally composed of Scotsmen only. They arrived in Canada around 1900.
Kidding.
They left Canada and came to Beverly, Mass. to work at a new plant known as the United Shoe Corporation. Shortly afterward, they formed a league and bowled at lanes provided by the United Shoe Company. They moved to different lanes several times and eventually bowled at the Brunswick lanes. And they're now bowling at the Beverly Bowler Mat. Presently, there is very little Scotch blood in the league except for a few grandchildren. The league is composed of 6 teams. Perhaps it may be the oldest league in the country. This is submitted by Peter Christopher from the Beverly Bowler Mat. And a printout of the current bowling jackets right here, Mike. Look at that.
Oh, my. 75 years. This was a jacket
from 1990.
From 1990. The Clan Wallace Bowling League.
Isn't that something?
What great history with some of these bowling leagues that have been around, well, coming on 100 years. What's that, 99 years?
99, yeah.
Well, a good fill, but not a good arrangement of pins for Steve Vadney. No wood to help. It's the 4. I'll make it the 2, 4, and the 7.
That'll be a 9 box for Steve.
Trailing by 59 pins. Insurmountable for 2 boxes remaining. You're looking at the bowler who will go on next week to face Rich Lottie, Jackie Ray.
Jack has 6 marks in 8 boxes of the 3rd string. Oh, he threw that one away, didn't he? He's entitled to 1.
Well, he's got the luxury of making a few mistakes and not having to worry.
That'll be a 9 box.
Only needed to win by 1.
That's not going to come back to haunt him at this stage of the game. That's right on the head pin, and that's a strike.
And that's going to put him over 400. He's at 397 with 2 balls yet to go. So
Good
considering he started with a 5 box in the very first box, the first game today, and he's certainly rolled it into a nice 400 triple for himself.
That's a good first ball. So he's got a shot at 500 bucks right here.
First week of the new season. Let's give it away, Dick.
$500 shot coming up for Jack Ray.
Replay.
Stowe, Massachusetts, looking at a $500 shot right here.
Right on the head pin. Gave it a run, but falls a little short. A 150. Third string for Jackie Ray and a 413 triple. And $100 in bonus money. And $50 for having the high string in the match. And a 10 box for Steve Vadney, 121. He ran into a buzzsaw here this afternoon in Jackie Ray. Missed the mark. That's been that kind of an afternoon for Steve Vadney. Finishes with a 10 box and a 131 and a 3-string total of 339 for Steve Vadney. Jackie Ray wins and advances, and we'll come back to talk to our bowlers right after this on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Jack Ray defeats Steve Vadney. The final score 413 to 339. Steve Vadney joins us here at Leda Lanes. First, we'll hand out the money, $200 for being runner-up, $50 in bonus money. And you ran into a buzzsaw there in Jackie Ray.
Yeah, Jack had a little rough start. I tried to help him out, and then his ball caught on fire. And I mean, you bowl 413. You know, you're rolling the ball pretty well and getting the breaks. And I missed the head pin for the first part of the match, and then got on it. And then when I did get good breaks, it seems like I can remember a triangle, the middle pin falling out, and I'm saying, geez, this is my first break, and then the middle pin falls out, and here we go. So, you know, even once I got onto the pins, it wasn't breaking up like it should.
Now, you were telling me before the match that you brought down a fan from the Claremont area to watch your bowl. Tell us that story.
Yeah, last night I stopped into McDonald's, and I met an old friend, Bill Blaisdell. I used to bowl with him about 15, 20 years ago in the league, and I was telling him I was coming down here to tape today, and he said, geez, he said, I watched that on TV. He says, I'd like to go down to that. I said, well, I'll pick you up in the morning, and here we go. Unfortunately, I didn't show him too much today, but maybe next time.
You brought your 25-year-old son, Steve, with you today, as you often do. Now that he's a big shot as CFO, he's able to take time off, I guess, to come down and watch Dad
I
ball.
guess he pretty much picks his own hours.
But he says he gets nervous when he knows that you're going to be on TV, much the way that some of the older bowlers get nervous watching their kids bowl.
Yeah. Well, you know, I still get nervous too, but I think he helps take some of that away with his rooting, so it's great to have him here.
Steve, thanks very much. Congratulations to you. We'll look forward to seeing you again.
Take care, Steve.
Steve Vadney, our runner-up here this afternoon, and now we will do the bonus ball contest, try to give away some cash. Jackie, we're going to tell you what we want you to get. We're going to draw a postcard out. Mike will reach into the bin. We'll pull a card out. We'll check the information, make sure it's all there. It's Sally Hines from North Reading, Massachusetts. Jack, she wants you to get one
Seriously,
pin.
yeah.
That's what she wants you to get.
All right.
One pin. Can you get one?
Seven
for
of the
10 bucks. He missed it. He went for the 7. He missed it. Consolation prize from N&R Trophies in Winchendon, Massachusetts for Sally Hines of North Reading. We've never had anybody say one before that I can think of.
People are going to start doing that now to see if the bowlers can get these weird combination of pins. We changed it up last season.
That's pretty neat. Huh?
That'd be a sharp idea to do that.
Listen, you started off with a 5 box, your very first box here. You end up with a 413. That's quite a turnaround.
Well, I never come out of the gate no matter what number I'm bowling, but geez, you know, 413. I guess for 5 years not being on the show, I had everything built up in me, and here it is. Hope it keeps up.
Well, Jackie, you've joined the club that Dick and I have been in for a while, the over 50 crowd. Well, you're just 50. So you're qualified to bowl in the senior tour. You plan on getting involved in that?
That's correct, yeah. Matter of fact, I've been saying for the last couple of weeks I better get the application, but I just have to go online and get it, and I'm going to get in that Pro Tour this year.
I'm wondering if you're like me, if it took like 2 years before I even opened up any of my AARP mail. I was in denial.
I've had 2 of them so far, and Kelly's thrown both of them away. She goes, I'm not that old.
Well, they're a wonderful organization, but we're all in denial when we get to 50.
That's right. I hope another one comes in the mail. All right, send me another one.
Well, Jackie, we have, let's see, we've got some cash for you. We've got $100 in bonus money, $50 for having the high string in the match, and you move up the ladder to take on Rich Lottie next week. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Jackie Ray, our winner here this afternoon, 413 to 339 over Steve Vadney, and up the ladder we go.
Yeah, we do. The number 3 seed is a bowler from the most recent Tournament of Champions, Rich Lottie. We'll see him and Jack Ray tangle next week.
For Mike Morin and our entire crew from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNBS TV. And remember, let's go bowling. See you next time.
All right, we had 2 good talkers. That's what it was.